So I know I promised you guys a bear story, and I'm going to tell it to you now. And I wanted to do it when I had time, because honestly, I was running and gunning the entire time out there. And it's a bit of a lengthy story. So on my day 3 of hunting, I believe it was, yeah, it was day 3. I had a friend of mine who will remain nameless, and I will insert some of his video in here of the animal. But he's a political figure, and he's in the public spotlight. And as you know, I live in the Nashville area, so I need to be mindful of his wishes and keeping his identification to myself. But anyways, he flew in to spend a couple of days hunting as well. And so it was his first full day of hunting and my third full day. And he had decided to hunt one mountain where we had seen the scat and paw prints or tracks from a bear. I decided I was going to go to another mountain around the other side of the cabin. So I was a pretty good distance away. And as you guys know, I had my GPS Garmin stuff with me, as well as cell phone. Well, and this guy can be a bit of a jokester sometimes, but I got a message from him on Garmin right after sunset that said, "I got one, need you now." And my first thought was, he's got to be kidding. I kept waiting for another note that said, "Ha ha," or "just kidding," "see you back at the cabin." Nothing like that ever came. So, honestly, when it came through, I immediately started driving. I didn't hesitate. I just figured I'd go and start driving. But like I said, I kept waiting for that message to come through. Well, because I was on another mountain, I had to come down that mountain, which means going down, these gravel roads. And then I had to go around the mountain I was on, all the way over past the cabin, and then up to where he was at. So it took me a good hour. And I get up the hill, and that's some great thing about Garmin. You can it'll tell you turn by turn in Garmin, when you're messaging, it shares locations of both individuals. So I knew exactly where he was at the whole time. That wasn't a challenge. But when I got there, I found him sitting in his vehicle. And I hopped out and I said, "So you got one?" He goes, "Yeah, it's right up here. Come on." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, you got a picture or anything?" He's like, "No." I said, "What the heck happened?" He said, "You want to hear the story right now?" I said, "Yeah, tell me before we get up in the woods. I want to know what's going on." So he said, "Okay, where we saw the scat and everything?" I'm like, yeah. He goes, "Well, I was heading down to the cabin from that when all of a sudden this bear ran right in front of me." And he said, "What went through my head is, fuck it, I'm here to hunt." He grabbed his .416 Rigby, and I know we both went way over gun for this trip, but he grabbed his .416 Rigby and had nothing else on him. No phone, no GPS, Garmin device, no bear spray, no pistol, no nothing. He just slammed the vehicle into park, grabbed his gun. He said he mentally thought, "Fuck it, I'm here to hunt." And he chased this bear up a hill and into the woods at sunset. And he said he was chasing the bear, and the bear ended up getting into a thicket at the base of a very large tree. And he said they were literally running round and round this tree in the thicket. And ultimately, he said the bear would poke around one side of the tree and look at him, and then poke around the other side of the tree and look at him, trying to figure out kind of what was going on. And it was so dark, he said, that he could not see through his scope to see it, and wished he'd had iron sights. So we'd have to look through his scope and then look to the side to see if he had his gun lined up. And he said he was 15 feet away from it, five yards. And he said it finally came around the tree and removed the tree from being between him and this bear. And that's when he decided to take the shot because he had a clean shot. Said he shot him, that he fell right where he was at and kind of made those gurgling death noises. And he said, I think I, went through both lungs. He didn't move, and he just dropped right there. He said, it's just right up the hill. It'd be real easy to find. I'm like, okay. So again, it was dark. I wanted to get my vehicle pointed in the right direction, so I had floodlights on my truck, as you guys have seen, or whatever you want to call them, extra lights. So I kind of got lined up so I could see, because it was a steep cliff we had to climb up. Had to climb up this steep cliff. And then he said it was only 20 yards in, not a big deal to get to. So we do this, and we get up the hill, and as soon as we get up in the hill, I hear a sound in the brush. And I said, hey, did you hear that? And he goes, no, I didn't hear that. So it wasn't that big a deal. I just kind of kept moving. And this is probably 10:30. And we stomped around in the woods until 1:30 in the morning and could not find it. I mean, we were looking all over the place for this bear. And it was really, really thick, a lot of ground cover. And I don't know if you guys know or not, but with the bear fur, it's designed to almost soak in light. So even if you shined a light on it, it doesn't reflect back. It's just going to look like every other shadow. So it's very, very difficult. Obviously, by 1:30, he was very frustrated that we couldn't find it. And I told him, I'm like, dude, I will stay up here on this mountain with you all night long. That's the commitment I made to you. If I get one, you were going to come help me, and vice versa. So I'm here to help no matter what. So by 1:30, he was frustrated and said, I think we should just come back at first light. So we headed down the hill, and it was another half an hour to get to the cabin. So by then it was 2:30 in the morning before I actually got in bed, and the sun rose there at 4:45. So I said, we need to be back up at 4 so we can be up the hill and be on it right at sunrise so that you don't lose the meat and the fur. So we did that. I think I got 90 minutes of sleep. It wasn't much. So we headed back up the hill, and we get up there, and we get up to one of the thickets I remember from the night before, and all of a sudden we hear this really low, deep thump, 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 thump. And I'm like, holy crap, what is that? And so I started asking, ChatGPT, is this a mountain lion? Am I dealing with a grizzly that has found the kill before us? And, Chat said, hey, it could be a bear, grizzly or mountain lions, make more of a cat-like noise when you come up on them. So no joke, I pull out my pistol. I got pistol in one hand and bear spray in the other. He does the same thing with his pistol. And we start to do this slow ring around the rosy around this thicket where, again, every once in a while you hear that deep guttural thump, 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 thump. It sounded like an old engine starting up. Yeah. So, and I'm not going to lie, it was super scary. I'm like, oh my gosh, something found his kill in the middle of the night and now was guarding it. I'm thinking, we're going to walk into this and we're going to have a grizzly charge us, And so, again, we're going around and around this bush. And I got on one side and he was on the other, and he's like, and we kept hearing it every once in a while, make that noise. And this went on for 30, 45 minutes. And he's like, fuck it, I'm going in. I said, well, hold on. If you go in and you have to shoot, I'm in the direct line of fire. I said, let me get behind you. So I worked my way around behind him. And he works his way into the thicket. And he's like, Bill, there is nothing in here. I'm like, you heard it. He goes, yeah, I heard it too. He goes, I'm telling you, I'm in here. I don't see anything. Like, that is so weird. He's like, I know, because I don't see the bear. So he comes back out of this thicket, and 10 minutes later, that sound starts again. And by this time, he's on the north side of the thicket. I'm on the south side of the thicket. I'm like, hey, man, it's doing it again. It's right in front of me, 7 yards away. He's like, no, I'm telling you, I'm hearing it behind me. And I'm like, that is crazy. If it was a giant bear, we would have heard it moving through the brush, but no noise. I'm like, do you think it could throw that sound because it's so low and guttural that it's hard to triangulate exactly where they're at? He goes, I don't know, but I'm telling you, it's not 7 yards in front of you. It's behind me. And of course, we're saying this the whole time. We're freaking out. Again, bear spray in one hand, pistol in the other, thinking something's going to charge us at any minute. So we started this at like 4:30 in the morning. This went on for 6 hours, thinking we were going to get attacked by whatever mate was making that noise. And we would move up to chase it or track it around to another area, and it would make it someplace else. And again, if you guys can laugh at me, make fun of me, do whatever you want to, but I'm telling you, if you know there's a big dead animal in there and you're in grizzly country, grizzlies come in and protect their kills. So at any point, I expected to get charged or something like that. And we had our pistols in our hands the whole time. So by 10:30, 6 hours later, he's like, man, I can't find this thing anywhere. I don't know what's going on. And we had been in that thicket he had been in the thicket 3 or 4 times. And I'm still, again, I go, man, I'm telling you, I hear it right there. It's underneath that log. He said, Bill, if you say something about that log again, I swear I'm going to shoot you next. So I'm like, okay. He's like, come on in here with me again. So I went in there. We sat on that log. I mean, we're sitting on the log. We're looking under the log. We're looking all around the log. I'm like, obviously there's no way that there is a massive bear here because we're right there. And we leave, get out of the thicket. We, move away, and the thumping starts again. And it's like an old engine starting up. It's just this deep, bellowing thump, thump, thump. And I said, man, what do you want to do? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I can't find the bear. I don't know what the hell is making that noise in there. He said, but I'm done. He said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm frustrated. I'd love to find the bear. I don't know where it's at, but I think all we got left to do is just continue on. So we did. We went back to the cabin, got cleaned up, had some lunch, and started hunting. And that was day 2. Day 3 rolls around. We're hunting, and I'm scoping, I'm glassing the hillside where I ultimately saw that one and tried to make the stalk on it and had the gate across the road. When he calls me and he says, I found the bear. And that's the part of the video I'm getting ready to show you guys. So what he did is he actually went back to that same place with the afternoon sun and found it. But I want to back up. We figured out what that deep thumping noise was. It wasn't a grizzly. It wasn't a mountain lion. Apparently, in that part of the country, during the springtime, the male grouse will make that noise as a mating call. And I'm telling you, without knowing that, it's a freaking scary noise. But anyways, that's the bear story. We ultimately were unable to recover the bear simply because when he found it, there were already buzzards eating on it. The flies were there, so the meat had spoiled. The fur would have just fallen right off the skin. There was nothing to do with that animal. And that's unfortunate because you'll see the video. It's probably a 400-pound bear. Huge bear. But I'm glad we were able to find it. And I still think he's a little crazy to this day for just grabbing his rifle and chasing it in the woods. No holds barred, I guess. Just I'm not sure I would have made that same choice when it crossed my path to chase a 400-pound bear. up into the woods and corner it like that. But anyways, we found the bear. It's a huge one. You'll see in the video. Like I said, I promised you guys a bear story, and there it is. I hope you enjoyed it.
Bonners Ferry, Idaho. Got this thing at about 8:10 in the evening. If I was to guess its weight, I'd say it's about 4 bills. Shot it 2 days ago, but it got so dark I couldn't find it. Bill and I probably stayed up here till around 1 o'clock in the morning looking for it. Temperatures dropped pretty good to about high 30s, 40 degrees. And then thought that's cool enough for us to come back in the morning. Came back in the morning, still couldn't find it. Heading to another site today. I thought, I'm gonna kick myself in the ass if I don't go look one more time. But I waited till the sun was going the direction it was when I found him and took the shot, and that actually lit up some trails we didn't hit looking for him, and he ended up being about, I don't know, 25 yards higher in elevation than everywhere we looked. If it makes the bear feel any better, I'm probably gonna lose a toenail over this.